Hi everyone, welcome back to this month's Off the Board. This is, there are a group of us who take our favorite pins that we've been hanging on to from Pinterest and we bring them to life on paper, so with paper and scissors. And I will admit to you that this one I've had around for a very long time, and I've already done it before with fringe. I think I used a circle instead of a star, but I was inspired by this pin for that reason. I always thought that it looked, and I actually put my fringe piece underneath a circle cut, so it kind of looked like I was backing a cut file with that. In this case, I think it may be over top of the paper, which is what mine's going to be. So I didn't want to go with paper fringe, and I had this idea. I knew I had this this fiber. I'll show you these cards of fiber. I don't know that these are sold anymore in scrapbook stores as scrapbook supplies, but I'm sure they're available in Sewing Notions type places. These were given to me by my former daughter-in-law. They had been her mother's, and her mom had passed away recently, and so she knew that I was into scrapbooking, and her mother was very much into scrapbooking, so she gave me many of her supplies. And these, as you can see how messy they are, I've used a lot. In this case, I thought I would, I was only going to use this fringed one, which I actually bought loose. I think it's in the ribbon section of a sewing store like Joann or any Sewing Notions sewing type store. And I was gonna kind of cover the whole, my whole heart with this kind of fringe. Well, it turned out that it didn't really work very well, and you can kind of see how when I did the tape through there, then I discovered when I did this part up at the top that if I put a strip of non-fringy stuff, ribbon, and then another strip close to it, leaving enough glue for this to stick, that I could make that work. So I'm gonna finish this out with the rest of the ribbon that I cut for this purpose. So I'm just gonna kind of layer it, and then I'll cut off the sides, and then the rest of the layout should go together fairly quickly. Let me push that fringe there, and for right now, I'm just doing these strips of dry adhesive, but I'm prepared to use wet adhesive if I need to really secure something down. And I'm gonna kind of rub the adhesive over this fringe because I have no possibility of getting it out. Just to be honest, this isn't my best decision to go with this. And there's a decision problem and there's a process problem. And I'm not sure, I'll admit to both, but I'm determined to make it work somehow. And it's not going to bother me if it's a bit messy and kind of loosey-goosey looking. I'm perfectly okay with that. It doesn't, I'm going to, here, because that fringe is covering my dry adhesive, I'm going to kind of do a thin bead of the wet adhesive across it. And kind of right in here is where my photo is going to overlap, so I'm not going to spend too much time trying to make that perfect. Okay, here. And you can kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm just taking random pieces of this ribbon and sticking it in lots of different colors of blue. But my granddaughter's wearing a, this is the photo I'm going to use, and she's at the beach entry to our swimming pool at the last house that we lived in. And she just loved it because it had little bubblers. And it was funny because we, when we were contracting to have it built, we kind of requested those bubblers specifically on her behalf because we thought she would like it. And this was summer of 2009, and she had either just turned 1 or was fixing to. And let's see, okay, I've got this, which is a fringy kind of thing. What I'm trying to do here is really put in a lot of texture and kind of watery looking colors, and to kind of replicate the textural look that the original gets from the fringed papers. So let me do this ribbon here to kind of fill that in. And I kind of thought maybe I might look for some like Nuvo drops or something like that to maybe fill in. It's dimensional paint, and I might be able to use it to fill in some areas where the color shows through, but I want to get the photo on here and get the page put together, and then I'll see how much any of the imperfections in this bother me. And I'm known to be rather tolerant of imperfections. So let's see. And as you can tell, what I'm getting ready to do, let me use another, there's some wide, relatively wide ribbon. This dark navy is one of them. So I'm going to kind of put it up close to this brighter blue. And then the part that is exposed to the, or the part that's left exposed, and there really isn't any. It's wide enough. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I was going to maybe try to tuck in some more of that fringy stuff, but let's call this done. And just so you'll know, as I cut this and kind of trim all the ribbon around the sides, you'll probably notice some pieces that need to be repaired, and I'll do that off camera. But just to give you an idea of how this came about. Like, for instance, I can see that this blue ribbon needs to go across there, and I'll probably replace that. So let me go turn this over this way, and I will cut it, wanting it to kind of look fringy on the ends as well. So if I leave a little kind of sticking out, that's going to be okay. That's my famous saying, I'm okay with that. I typically don't strive for perfection. I admire it in others, and I kind of wish for it sometimes. But in general, I do this to try to learn what works and what doesn't work in terms of process. Okay, so I I cut, this was a die cut heart out of a piece of Teresa Collins' Now and Then paper. It's from a Now and Then. It's a very old line, 2012. And I cut a scalloped heart that's slightly bigger than this. And I'm going to mount this on that. I've debated whether I'm going to put some foam behind it. I think I will. And whoops, I brought some ribbon along. Let me just kind of push that out of the way of any adhesive I may try to use. Again, I'm hoping that this goes together, the layout goes together quickly, but I'm using something else I've never used on a layout before, which is real seashells. So let's see if I can get that. On there. I've got a little piece down here that I'm going to have to go back and glue with some this part right down here. Maybe if I can bring the fringe down. There we go. Okay, I'm going to leave that as it is. Okay, let's go back to what we were trying to do in the first place. I see a little tiny bit of overhang there. Okay, I'm going to quit nitpicking this and leave that for off camera. Okay, so there's that. It's time to bring in the background paper. I'm just going to put this on first, and I'm going to maybe position it down here. It's nowhere near as large as the example, but I'm good with that. I've got this with a layer of foam on it here and a double layer there, and I think I may let the overhang, I think this is going to work for the overhang, and I may kind of come down here so that I can do a little cluster of embellishments there. Okay, that's good. I think that's good. Let's see. That has no adhesive on it. So that's why it's not sticking. Let's do this. Let's see, back there again. And before I run out of space for them, I have a strip of journaling that's going to go down here. I'm actually running out of adhesive. It's really not a good time. I'm going to push it over this way, and then I can do something right here. And I will kind of point out there's a little bit of embellishment cluster right up here, overlaying the heart. I'm going to do mine kind of up in that same corner, but not in the overlaying the heart. I'm going to do it just outside the heart, and I'm going to, because it's a baby layout, I feel I can use glittery penguins. And if you disagree, I can probably understand that. Okay, I'll let it overlay the framework there. And I've got a larger pigeon penguin that I'm going to put right here. And so I'll put a little bit of foam behind him over on that outside area. And I'll go there. Okay. Now I've got this, which is going to serve as my title. It isn't really a title, but I'm doing this in addition to, for off the board, I'm actually using today's load prompt, which is based on the Beatles song Penny Lane. So we were to do a scrapbook or a page, a nostalgic page, and to use something round like a penny. Well, I thought, you know, why not use a penny? And what I've been doing for my titles, if I can't use the title of the song, like Penny Lane might not have made a whole lot of sense as a title for a page, I may have, let's see if I can get this down here underneath that foam. I thought I'd use lyrics. So what seemed appropriate for this particular photo is There Beneath the Blue Suburban Skies. And certainly these are suburban skies that she's under. And let's see, where did there they are. I have some, what did I drop? Oops, my inking tool. Okay, will this fit under here? Yeah. Gonna kind of, do I want that there or by the penguin? You know, I think I like it above the title, but I don't want it to be quite that tall, so I'll do that. And let me try now. Well, first of all, I'm gonna throw a penny on here. And these, if I'd had any copper polish, which I don't know if I've ever owned any copper polish, but if I'd had any, I might have polished them up. But this is a nostalgic layout, right? And aged pennies seem to go along with the distressed ink edges, right? So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So let me see, I'll put this right here, and then I won't add any embellishments up in that cluster. I'm going to do some shells here and maybe some shells up here. But first I want to pick out the butterfly colors. Maybe I'll do a butterfly there. And I'll reinforce well, let's see. I'll reinforce the blue color maybe here. But for right now, maybe I want to pick up on the pink that's in her swimsuit and use it there. And I'm going to do a third butterfly somewhere, maybe after I do the shells. And that third one might be an unexpected color like yellow, or, ooh, I think I'll go with the navy blue and maybe have it out here on its own. Let me do that. And I'll put it out there. Okay, now I thought I might bunch up some of this into a bit of a nest, maybe, for the shells to rest on. And I'm not sure if I'm asking for trouble here or not. The reason I say that is that I'm thinking maybe, let me get something that I can push that down and maybe get the glue kind of up. This may not stick well to the bottom of the page, and the shells may not stick that great on top of it. I'm going to go with this shell right here because oh, okay, see, that's my problem. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see what we can do. There's a lot of, gosh, that's some sand that came out of the shells. I've pulled these shells from this collection of seashells that belongs to Ava, but that she gave to me because she no longer had room for them among all of her One Direction posters and decor in her little teenagery type bedroom now. So she's giving up part of her cultural heritage, I guess. So that's another thing that makes this, despite the fact I'm looking back on her her childhood from many years back. In addition to that, I'm reminiscing about the days when she liked beaches more than, I don't know, One Direction. Okay, so let's do this guy. This is a long one. I'm going to kind of vary the profiles of the shells, and I saw Krista Ferrato do a layout a few weeks back for Mixed Media Frenzy, and she used some real shells on her layout, but I really wasn't able to see how she put them on. I think actually, as I recall now from the video, that she actually used, there's a little blue shell, which may not show up terribly well, but I'm going to let that be my little cluster of shells there. I have a sticker set with some this kind of glittery shell sticking out, so I might use that there. And let's see, do I have anything else I could use? I think the rest of this is are fish, and I'm really not wanting to do fish, although there's this cute little crab. And I think this is a Doodlebug sticker sheet called Sea Life, maybe? Anyway, let me see. I'm going to put a pop dot behind this and let it overlap the journaling block down here. Or, and I just put it in close. I think I like it better. Do I want it here, upside? That's really kind of upside down. I'm not necessarily into upside down crabs. So let me try that. And that gives me room for something down here, and I honestly don't know what that is. So let me go up here and do another shell. I'm going to use this yellow one, mainly because I kind of want to bring that yellow color out. There's a little bit of yellow here and a little orange down there, and actually the palm tree trunk has a little yellow in it. Now I'm going to take a tiny, well, the other thing I need to do, I need a speckled one. I'm going to do another penny. That's what will go there. Okay, let me kind of slide the penny in under the seashells and the crab. That'll work. And then I'm going to do a penny, maybe, let me see if I have. I tell you what, I'm going to, well, maybe over on the other side of that butterfly. Well, I've lost the other penny, guys. Nope, here it is. My next shell I wanted to have right on the journaling paper. So it needs to be really small, but it needs to be a pretty shell. So I like this one. Maybe that'll work. Okay, we'll see. Okay, there's a penny here, penny here. This one I can have a penny right here underneath the butterfly's wings. I didn't necessarily want the pennies to show, because, they're not just all that pretty. Let's see. Let's see. Is there something else? I think there was, well, I like those little sunglasses there, and the stay cool sentiment. Let's see. If I do that, that actually maybe becomes the title, right? I think I'll do that. And this, I think I'll slide in maybe I'll slide it in over here. I wanted part of them to be obscured. Okay, now, I actually just saw a tinier shell that has a little bit more vivid coloring. So let me put that on here. And then I think we're finished. I think I've got what I wanted here. Do I want any more of that fluffy, fringy stuff? Maybe up in here. I don't think so, but right up here next to the heart, I think is fine. Okay, we're gonna call it done. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching. I've got my tropical leaf that I wanted to be sure and use. I have kid-like elements. I've drawn out some pink with this butterfly. Do I maybe want to try to draw out some more pink over here or up there? Nah, I'm good. I think I don't want to overdo it, but overdoing is kind of my thing. So I'm happy with this. I think I've stayed somewhat true to the idea. The idea is a heart with lots and lots of texture and kind of a diagonal of embellishments. This is kind of out of left field, literally, and but I think that's fine. So here's my completed layout, complete with a precious little crab and 3 pennies. So again, thank you for watching. I'm gonna shut her down.